Hey guys, how we doing and how we feeling today? I'm Emilio Fernandez and this is Pop and Bop. Now, on this episode, we're going to talk about and review Camila Cabello's fourth studio album titled C XOXO. Now, in case you don't know who Camila is, she's best known for her Billboard Hot 100 number one smash hits, Havana featuring Young Thug and Senorita featuring Shawn Mendes. Now, this album is mainly a blend of one genre and two subgenres, I would say, which are pop, hyper pop, and hip hop. Now, prior to the album release, we had two singles, which were I Love It, featuring Playboi Carti, and He Knows, featuring Lil Nas X. And with the album release, we had the third single, which was Hot Uptown, featuring Drake. Now, onto the album itself. So, the album is 14 tracks and it's 32 minutes and 20 seconds long. So, it's on the shorter side of a listening session, I would say. Now, we start with the first track, I Love It, featuring Playboi Carti. This is the first of my highlights on the album, and it's a lead single, as I already said. The distinctive production immediately pulls a listener in, signaling a fresh and exciting soundscape for Camila. You either hate or love this song, as a repetitive chorus is not for everyone. This marks the first time Camila ventures into hyperpop, a subgenre that Charlie XCX is well known for. So this is a big departure for Camila from her previous work. This is a strong opening track. Playboi Carti really fits the vibe this song is going for. Personally, I had only listened, I believe, to one of his songs, which was a collaboration. The collaboration he has with The Weeknd and Madonna for the Idol series, which was popular. And well, I would say that just listening to that song, which was a pretty viral song, I got the gist that his style is mumble rap. So like this song, I don't know, it kind of feels like he does really fit the vibe with his mumble rap. So anyways, and in this song, Camila and Playboi Carti talk about the attraction between two people. One that is a full-on roller coaster. It's chaotic, nerve-wracking, passionate, and draining. But the two people love it anyway. So yeah, as the title says and suggests, it's called I Love It. So these two people, like even with all the chaos and all the strong emotions, the passion, everything thrown towards this relationship, they love it anyway. Like, even if it's like ups and downs, I mean, which relationship is not like that, you know? So, these two people like really love each other. So, they're gonna go through whatever they are thrown towards their way to still be with each other. Now, moving on to track number 2, Chanel number 5. The initial 15 seconds of this track make the listener think they're getting that kind of sound all throughout the song, only for Camila to switch things up past this intro, somewhat abruptly. And in this song, Camila uses a popular fragrance, Chanel number 5, to paint a picture of the guy she's attempting to conquer. She truly believes that if she wants him, he's all hers, as she knows just how to mess with his mind. So, not gonna lie, I mean, when Camila posted the track list for this album and I saw this track titled Chanel number 5, I was like, okay, that's that's the name of the popular perfume. So I was intrigued by what this song could sound like and what the message could be. And Camila really, I would say, really took advantage of this, like maximized this concept, like the title, and she really went with it, because yeah, basically she's like using this fragrance to symbolize the power she has over this guy. Like she feels that authority over him, and she's like, listen, if I really want him, he's all mine. Like I just know how to fuck with his mind, so that's not a problem for me. Now moving on to track number 3, Pink XOXO. This is a solid interlude that improves upon the previous track and transitions seamlessly into the next one. And Pink Pantheress has writing credits on this interlude. And we move on to track number 4, He Knows, featuring Lil Nas X, another one of my highlights. This is a song that the average listener may not get at the first listen, and I include myself in this conversation because I really didn't get the song initially. Like didn't really like it at first, but with the more times I listened to it, I grew to like it and even love it by the end. Like at this point that I'm recording this episode, which is the 10th of July of 2024, I now love this song, like on a personal level. But objectively speaking, I also believe that it's a really solid song. Now, Lil Nas X really contributes to this track. And in this song, Camila talks about the power she feels over a guy, as she's certain she has him wrapped around her finger and thinks that he's aware of this power dynamic. So I would say this song is a little similar to the message of 2 tracks prior, which was Chanel number 5, which we just talked about, because it's also talking about a power dynamic. In the case of this song, Camila is also in charge over the guy. So yeah, basically she also feels powerful over this guy and in this scenario. And she really feels like she has things under control. Like she knows just how to talk to this guy to get what she wants. Now, track number 5, 20 Somethings, another one of my highlights. Camila slows things down with this track, and the instrumentation, the acoustic guitar, does an excellent job at giving the listener that moment. And in this song, Camila opens up about just how it's been like navigating her life in her 20s. And well, Camila today is 27 years old, which is actually my age. So that's interesting. And particularly her love life with a fellow 20-year-old could be about her famous ex, Shawn Mendes. Now, this is a pretty relatable song because, as I said, I'm 27, so Camila and I are the same age, so I really identified with things that she said on this track. So, we're in our 20s, so we're experiencing similar things. Obviously, she's an artist, a well-renowned artist, so not really the same, but like talking about everyday things, yeah, we're experiencing similar things. Now, we move on to track number 6, Dade County Dreaming, featuring JT and Young Miami, otherwise known as the City Girls, which I believe have now disbanded, but I read somewhere that they came together for this track, and this is the final City Girls track because they had already gone their solo ways. But, anyways, with the City Girls on this track, one would expect a more energetic sound because, well, if you don't know, JT and Young Miami are both rappers. So, with them on this track, one would expect, if you knew their background, like what genre they come from, you would expect a more lively sound. But the piano towards the end, like it kind of sounds like that, but the piano towards the end of the song gives it a more tame feel. And Dade County, I didn't know this, but Dade County is a county located in the in the southeastern part of Florida, which Miami is a part of, obviously. And in this song, Camila and the City Girls talk about partying in Miami, with the three of them having been raised there. Camila, in particular, feels like partying so hard to the point of forgetting she's even famous. So, this is a pretty simple song, pretty straightforward because, it's talking about, as I said, partying, like what the party life is like in Miami. I don't know too much about that, but, well, these girls are educating us with this info. So yeah, basically it's talking about partying in Miami, what that's like, and Camila in this case is like she's like partying so hard, like she's having such a good time that she could even forget that she's famous. Like she could feel like an ordinary person for a moment there. Okay, so we move on to track number 7, C XOXO featuring BLP Kosher. So I wasn't familiar with this artist. So, anyways, BLP Kosher opens up about what Camila's music has meant to him over the years in this interlude, particularly Camila's self-titled debut studio album, Camila. This makes it all the more special for him to be even a small part of a Camila album. So, not much to say on that other than it was a nice detail to have this kind of interlude in this album, like having an artist that rather than, you know, contributing vocals to the album, they're like just talking like heart to heart and like with the listener. And in this case, BLP Kosher is letting us know just how much Camila's music, especially as I said, her debut album, so her debut self-titled album, Camila, meant for him. Like he said something along the lines of he was going through like a hard time, a breakup, and that album in particular of Camila's discography really helped him go through it. Now we move on to track number 8, Hot Uptown featuring Drake. Another one on my highlights. So undoubtedly, this is one of the strongest tracks on the album. Drake really makes the most out of his feature. This song is reminiscent of Drake and Rihanna's Too Good from Drake's 2016 album Views. The production here is top notch. Camila and Drake reference Drake's hit Hotline Bling. And in this song, Camila and Drake talk about two people that are in a challenging relationship. Amidst luxury and materialism, both people lust over one another. Yet they're both not sure that the other person is deserving of their time and love. And when they're apart, there's yearning for a rekindling of the relationship. One of them warns the other that it was a mistake giving them their space, and that if they get back together, they better make sure to keep them around this time. So, a pretty interesting song because, it's talking about a relationship that has like one or both people are into really materialistic things and into luxury and, like expensive things. And they may use that as a means to impress the other person. But also, with that aside, like, this is a pretty, as I said, pretty difficult relationship. It could be on and off, you know, because it's talking about when they're apart, there's they wish to be back together again. And but when they're together, they're not really convinced that the other person is worthy of their time and love. Like, they're undeserving of that. So, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of relationships that are like this. So, yeah. Now, we move on to track number 9, Ugly, by Drake. Just Drake, not Camila is not in this interlude. Drake gets the spotlight to himself on this longer interlude. Sorry. In this interlude, Drake tells the perspective of the guy in the relationship explored in the previous track. So we're continuing the story from the previous track. He lets the girl know the lengths he would go for her, willing to show her the proof if necessary. His heart was broken a long time ago, as he feels as if he taught her a lot just for her to go running to someone new. Yet, for how lost in life she claims to be, she manages to end up at his place, right back to him. Sorry, so this is a pretty interesting interlude, not only because it's continuing the thread explored in the previous track, but also because it's exploring, like, it's telling the other side of the coin. Like, yes, the previous track, it can be understood that it's both perspectives, but it's mainly the perspective of the girl, because Camila is the one that's singing the most naturally in the song because it's her album, it's her song. But in this case, the perspective of the guy is told, just that perspective alone. So Drake is telling us this story. And yeah, I mean, the guy in this case is like someone who feels that he does a lot for the other person, but maybe that other person doesn't like really recognize that, doesn't really value that, appreciate that. So then the other person says that they are pretty misguided, they're pretty like they don't know what they're doing, they're pretty disoriented, but somehow, some way, they end up right where they started, in this case with this guy. So like they find themselves back to each other one way or the other. Now we move on to track number 10, Dream Girls, another one of my highlights. This is easily one of the strongest tracks on the album alongside Hot Uptown. This up-tempo record really has Miami written all over it, which is what Camila set out to accomplish with this album. And in this song, Camila is feeling herself and having the time of her life with her girlfriends. Camila was 26 when she wrote and recorded the song, I Believe, and she feels like sharing her wisdom with the girls that find themselves in the transition to womanhood, telling them that they should keep it sexy while they figure out how to be women. So this is a pretty, your run-of-the-mill girl power anthem, which I love. I love those types of song. Sorry, that type of song. And yeah, like it's basically like from the perspective of girls in their 20s, maybe their mid to late 20s, and like telling a message to younger girls who are like in their late teens, about to be 20. So they're about to be adults and women, like adult women. So yeah, it's a pretty nice message to give because girls should always have each other's backs, no matter what. So it's pretty nice to see like 20 something year old girls give this type of message to younger girls who are about to be in their 20s. So yeah. Now we have track number 11, 305 Till I Die, a short interlude with nothing but chatter, so there's really not something else to say here. So we move on to track number 12, Boat. Camila's, oh, well, I was going to say, this is another one of my highlights on the album. And Camila slows things down once more with this heartfelt ballad. Camila's strongest vocal showcase up until this point in the album. This track samples Pitbull's Hotel Room Service. Both stands for Best of All Time, which is something that I wasn't aware of previously. And in this song, Camila talks about a relationship that has come and gone. She wishes things would have played out differently. Like for the guy to admit that to her that he wanted her when she wasn't his, and that he can't live without her. She wonders if he ever regrets having messed with her head, and now she had to give herself peace of mind. And how she had to give herself peace of mind because he couldn't give it to her. Until she's good with someone else is when he thinks it's the right time to try to win her back. And she thinks that he could have had her for a lifetime if only he were different with her. So yeah, basically the song is saying like one person is telling their now ex that they were the best of all time until they weren't, wishing that things would have played out differently. And yeah, like basically this is the reflection period of a breakup, when you really sit down and think about everything that went down, how it all went down, like the what if scenarios, which I know are pretty rough to think about, but they're inevitable. And okay, so we move on to track number 13, Pretty When I Cry, another one of my highlights. Camila gets things going once again with this track. In this song, Camila continues the story from the previous one. Now that she has had time to sit down and really reflect on the breakup, she now feels empowered and still feels pretty even when she's crying. Camila tells her ex that she's a pretty big loss for him and that someone like her is pretty hard to come by. So I like this song. I love an empowerment anthem. And yeah, I mean, the song is basically saying like even when I cry, I still look good. Like I just let it all out, but I can still like serve looks. You know, I can still not only feel good because I'm letting it all out, but also look good while doing it. Like, I'm not gonna let this feeling destroy me, you know? I'm gonna let it, you know, like polish me in a way, like, yeah. And that brings us to track number 14, the last track on this album, June Gloom. So the production shift towards the end of the song really captures the theme, which is gloom. Not a very strong closing track, unfortunately. And in this song, Camila talks about being in an intense relationship that just gets crazier the longer it goes on. There's temptations and jealousy in the way, and Camila wonders if the relationship will ever come to an end. She claims to be over this guy, but the truth of the matter is that he's all she can think about. So, this song, yeah, well, I gotta admit, when I read the title June Gloom, something that came to mind was Summertime Sadness, a classic hit by Lana Del Rey. And this song could be something like that, but I think it's different also because in this case, it's talking about, you know, like people who are together, but it's a pretty wild relationship and it just gets wilder the longer it goes on. And like the two people have eyes on other people. So things get more complicated with that. And yeah, like at least one of the two people wonder like, is this ever gonna end? Like, do I want to keep being in this relationship or do I want to end it? But if they can only think about the other person all the time, then that makes it obviously hard for them to put a stop to it. So yeah, that was the album. So overall, this is a solid pop album. Camila successfully reinvented herself with this album, this way staying fresh as an artist, which is really important, obviously. The production is mostly consistent, and all of the featured artists did their part and put a piece of their artistry in this album. So when comparing this album to the rest of Camila's discography, do I consider this to be Camila's best album yet? No. I consider Romance to be Camila's best album to date. So briefly going over Camila's discography, we have her debut album Camila, which was a stunning debut album. Then we have Romance, a second album, which I just said I consider it to be her best album yet. So in Romance, Camila went for a more traditional pop sound rather than her Latin pop-heavy debut album. And we have her third album, Familia, which I also reviewed on this podcast. Camila returned to her Latin pop roots and delved deeper into her Spanish vocals. And that brings us to this fourth album, C XOXO. So what score do I give C XOXO? I give it 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, guys, that was my review for C XOXO by Camila Cabello. Before I go, make sure to follow Pop and Bop on social media for more content. It's basically plain and simple Pop and Bop on all social media. So yeah, guys, this has been Pop and Bop. I'm Emilio Fernandez. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time when we review Imagine Dragons' latest album, Loom. Catch you next time.